What's going on, y'all? So, I want to talk about something that I'm genuinely very frustrated with. And if you're in real estate or really any sales business, I'm pretty sure this is going to hit home for you. Over the past 6 months, I've spent thousands of dollars, countless hours, and more energy than I really want to admit testing lead generation companies. And I'm just going to put it super plainly. I am disappointed in every single one. Well, except for one. And I'll get to that at the end of the video. So everywhere you look right now, someone is promising you instant success, more leads, better leads, AI leads, done for you systems. You get triple verified, double verified, quadruple verified with a Venti, so many things. What they don't show you is the reality behind the scenes, the confusion, the bad data, the wasted time, just the false confidence from starting and then staring at dashboards instead of talking to real people. So today in this video, I want to walk you through my real experience, no fluff, no pitch, just the truth. That's how I roll. That's what you're going to get. So let me set the scene here. In June of 2025, I went full time. I had 3 or 4 deals lined up. I had just come off the first half of the year, doing my best year ever. I was like, you know what? I don't want to do 9 to 5 anymore. It was just the time. So I'm sitting here thinking, all right, I'm sitting on a lot of money. I'd like to invest 10% of that and start going after more and get more leads, get in front of more people, have more conversations. And I started doing some research. Now, if you're like me and you're in real estate, you probably get 4, 5, 6, 7 messages a day from lead gen companies, not including just text messages, but on social media. They're all up in your DMs. I'm getting them on WhatsApp. They're everywhere. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to pick 2 or 3 of these and I'm going to go and get signed up with them and just see what they're all about. So one of the first ones that I signed up with happened to be these young kids out of California, and they were super excited. I loved their energy. They were super funny. Signed up with them. It was like $1,000 to get started. High barrier to entry. And I'm not going to mention their name because they already went out of business, but they were kind enough to refund me that $1,000 as they positioned and pivot into a different segment. Their explanation was getting realtors to sign up was a huge hurdle for them to overcome, and they just didn't want to do it. That should have been red flag number 1. I didn't take it. So yeah, I got a phone call from me filling something out on Instagram, and there was a company called Kazoo. So Kazoo sounded like a great idea. It was about $340 a month, and it was unlimited leads. And the way it works is you have a Kazoo portal. You get the opportunity to cherry pick leads that come in, both buyers and sellers. It sounded like a great idea. Warm leads, people interested in selling, people interested in buying. But when I actually called these people, they were like, who are you? Why are you calling me? No recollection of a conversation they previously had with a Kazoo member. No intent, no context. It was hot garbage. So I did this for 3 months. Okay, now I'm running meta ads and I'm working with Google, and I am working with like 1 or 2 other companies at the time. So I have a really good baseline of what to look for, and I'm putting these people into drip campaigns, text messages, emails. I'm doing retargeting from my website. So I'm not just a one and done phone call. It's a blast, right? It's Trace sells your place on multiple different avenues So it's not just me calling this person up one time. If I could get a hold of them, that's one issue. People just not even responding to any of the outreach. Me personally calling, texting, emailing, all that. If I got a hold of them, they were like, "Who are you?" Or the worst of the worst, they're simply not in a position to be buying a house, right? And that should have been something that was vetted before it came to me. Terrible credit scores, zero money, no money for a down payment. I understand working with these people to get them into a position to where they can buy a house, but at the end of the day, like, it wasn't what Kazoo had promised. So Kazoo, gone, canceled that. Next up is eGen Media. So eGen Media, again, it was a really interesting sales rep. I liked their pitch. To their credit, the pickup rate was decent. Maybe 1 out of every 3 was a real human that answered. So the way eGen Media worked is you gave them your credit card info and every time, and zip code, and they would skip trace that zip code. And I guess they were calling and texting, but really anybody with a pulse became a $99 charge on your credit card. So you could just be sitting there at the gym, boom, $99 comes out your account. You could be in the bath, boom, $99 comes out. Out to dinner, boom, $99 comes out. So it started adding up really quick. Now, I had $1,000 a month budget, so let's call it 10 leads, to really run this and see it through. The problem, a lot of these people did not know I was calling. They had no recollection of speaking with someone at eGen Media. So although people were picking up and answering, people really didn't have a clue that I was going to be reaching out to them and talking to them, or their timeline was wildly off. When I signed up, eGen Media told me 1 to 3 month timeline. Okay, cool, I can work with that. But a lot of these people were 6, 9, 12, 24 month timeline. That's not what I signed up for. Now, eGen Media does have a lead credit system where at the end of the month, the leads that you were charged $99 could go on this form. You could submit that to eGen and then they would credit you. So let's say I signed up for 12 leads, 5 of those were garbage. They didn't answer. You could send them back to get retargeted, or the timeline didn't match up, or just a bad lead in general. You could get credited back. So they would do that. That was kind of cool. In fact, eGen Media still owes me 2 leads, but that was a dispute we got into at the end of using them. I used them for 3 months, 0 deals. I got a total of 28 contacts. I sent back a total of 12. None of those contacts are even responding to any of my CRM reach out. Now, I could blame that a little bit on the CRM. We'll get to them in a minute. But eGen Media has 2 paths you can take, one for real estate agents, one for wholesalers. And since I do work with a couple investors and builders, I signed up for both. It was like $250 per. So that was a $500 upfront fee. And you got 1 or 2 on each side. eGen Media started sending me wholesale leads, but then they would pull back. They already charged me for the lead, $99, but I was already owed a lead signing up, right? So I sign up, I get 1 and 1, or 2 and 2 at the time. eGen Media sends me the real estate leads. I get those, I use those credits, I send them back. But then they start sending me the wholesale leads, and they never gave me my free credit lead, ever. So I told them, hey, I'm not doing this anymore until you give me those 2 leads back. I've been round and round with them. eGen Media, you have not credited me those two leads back, so I'm not using you anymore, right? And now I'm putting you on blast for not really doing what you said you were going to do, right? It's not a system problem. I think they're rooted in Go High Level. You can see a lot of what they're doing. I don't hate what they were doing. In fact, through all this, I started using Go High Level and started using my own automations and kind of copied what they were doing. So now I run that for much, much, much less than what I was paying eGen. It's like $250 a month. So I would say it's not a systems problem. It's more of a trust problem. If you say you're going to do something, if you say you're going to credit somebody, credit them. Next up, Canvas. Canvas leads, Canvas design, Canvas something. This one frustrated me the most. So the owner is local to Charlotte, so I was kind of excited about that. Their sales rep was phenomenal. Cool guy. Can't remember where he was from or remember his name. Don't want to, do that. But they had a $2,500 startup fee, and I really wasn't looking forward to paying $2,500 after being burned by 3 lead gen experiences so far. So I negotiated $500 up front, and I would give them $2,000 on the back end of my first closing. And then moving forward, we had an agreement that was signed and sealed and ready to go. They dropped the ball. We worked together for 3 months, and you could tell that the owner leaned hard into Alex Hormozi's playbook. Every response felt very canned, very scripted. Like he would take my concerns and put them in ChatGPT, and then instead of like going through and editing what ChatGPT said back, just copy and paste and sent over. There was a grand slam offer. Like it was exactly what they're up there, Alex Hormozi's book say, to a T. My campaign never launched. This was supposed to be meta ads. They were supposed to run and control my meta ads with this grand slam offer and do all these, elaborate things to get me going in meta. Never happened. No ads, no data, no accountability. So I ended up reaching out and said, look, if you can't meet this deadline and get me launched by X date, I want my $500 back because you haven't done anything. He said, okay. He agreed to that. The date came. No $500. So luckily I called my credit card company and was able to retrieve that $500, cancel payment. Now I'm putting you on blast, Canvas. Google and Meta ads, I feel like you need a marketing degree to own that campaign. I'm already making cold calls. I'm already doing content like this, home tours, working with buyers and sellers. I'm doing all these things and just running Google and Meta ads, it wasn't for me. And honest, this was a rabbit hole. And you can watch hundreds of hours of YouTube videos, and unless you're just like living inside the dashboards, from what I felt, it was extremely overwhelming. And it's expensive. It's really expensive. And if you're not doing it correctly, you're just lighting money on fire. So I set like a $750 a month budget to run all these ads, zero back. So let me get this straight. Kazoo, Canvas, eGen, Meta, Google. I am not doing any deals, but I am spending thousands of dollars. Okay? That's not okay. That's not okay. I talked to some other companies. There's a few video companies that, they'll do video ads. They were extremely expensive. They wanted like 10 grand. I talked to a couple coaches, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 to join these coaching societies. Y'all, I just went full time. I'm not going to spend $5,000 on a coach to tell me to make more cold calls. There's these boost companies. Realty One Group has the ability to boost things. You pay $175 to get boosted. I haven't seen anything. There was other companies like Sales Ape, Acrely, Speed to Lead, email campaigns. There's just so much out there. Here's the truth. I know this video has been long. It's been 13 minutes. If you stuck with me for this long, I appreciate you. My timestamp on here says I should be about 7 minutes into the video, so it's going about twice as long as it should. But I just wanted to get really nitty gritty with you guys and be fully transparent. Lead gen is terrible. It's terrible. Here's the truth. Vulcan 7. I have a Vulcan 7 dashboard. I make 50 calls on average a day. I know that's not a ton, but that's what my block allows me for what I'm doing. I've closed 2 or 3 deals from there. I've got 3 active listings from Vulcan 7, right? It's $400 a month, give or take. I've made 40 grand from them so far. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm calling in there every day. I'm moving things along. I'm progressing. It's fantastic. So I would just end this by saying there's no replacement for actually doing the work yourself, for getting in there, having conversations, being a resource to for sale by owners, being a breath of fresh air to expired listings, really just coming with your A game, sitting down, blocking off some time, and making the calls. That's it. It's as simple as that. What frustrates me the most about this whole experience isn't really spending the money. I call that my tuition fee. It's just the noise. It's the constant messaging. It's the constant DMs from all these different lead gen companies that are promising the world. It's all these influencers jumping on Instagram and saying, oh, YouTube videos and Meta ads and Google ads and just lead gen. It's overwhelming. So if you're feeling stuck and you're like me, do something to get in front of more people that isn't behind a computer screen, that isn't behind your social media. I know I'm doing this on YouTube right now, but I'm just trying to help because I don't really feel like I've gotten a ton of help in this department over the past 5 years. Part 2 of this, I'm going to go over the systems like Vulcan 7 that I do really, really, really like. And then in part 3, I'm going to talk about CRMs because I am not happy. And I'm looking at you, real geeks. I'm looking at you, you outdated piece of crap. That's how I'll leave this on this. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Please share it with another agent and leave a comment down below what lead gen systems are working for you, and let's talk about it. Let's get better as a group, as a collective. I think if we work together as real estate agents across the country, across the world, there's a really bad stigma on us for agents who just go through the motions and give us a bad rap and aren't professional. I'm trying to be completely against that and completely different. So like, comment, subscribe, follow along for part 2, part 3 of this series. And as always, get out there and do the work. Peace.